What's going on, everyone? So, Kevin Williamson, right? Director, writer. Kevin Williamson, it got writing credits for the upcoming Scream 7, which is very exciting. Now, look, I am somebody that has been very critical of Scream 5 and Scream 6. Kevin Williamson also said Scream 6 was his favorite Scream movie, so it also kind of concerns me a little bit, if I'm being honest. Little worried. But, look, this is Kevin Williamson's baby. Scream, the franchise, Sidney Prescott, Gail Weathers. Obviously, we don't have Dewey Riley anymore, but this is the house Kevin built. Him and Wes Craven built this. Kevin Williamson created it, had the vision, and Wes Craven was able to put pen to paper, so to speak, and become the visionary and put it and translate it to film, right? And it just, Kevin Williamson, and it's kind of part of why I am hopeful and optimistic for this film. I do have some of my reservations, don't get me wrong. But after, seeing the trailer, I thought it was a good trailer. I thought they did a good job with it. But, trailers can be misleading. We've all seen a lot of films, or we've all seen a lot of movies where the trailer was terrible and the movie was great. And we've seen a lot of films where the trailer was great and the movie was terrible, right? Like there's the in-betweens, right? So to me, I'm glad that we got the trailer. It looks promising. It looks exciting. Kevin Williamson, I'm glad that he's at the helm. Obviously the only thing he has director-wise is, Teaching Miss Tingle, I think is the only thing he's actually ever directed. But look, it doesn't matter. This is his baby. He has the vision, right? I trust that he can get that done. But I was worried about the writing. Right? Guy just hasn't done a stellar job, in my opinion. The writers, period, haven't done a stellar job, in my opinion. And then Guy was the one that was going to kind of try to do this solo. And then there were, kind of rumors and reports and stuff like that as we progressed that Kevin Williamson was going to be at the forefront, that he was going to be, not only be the director, but he was also going to do some of the writing and change some of the things. And now he's done it enough to where he's at least getting credited, which is interesting, right? Because couple things, right? So you have the screenplay by Kevin Williamson and Guy Busick, and then you have directed by Kevin Williamson. And that's great, right? But how much has he been able to change? That's something that has always been my question. We even talked about it like on the Lethal Collective and stuff a while back, where they brought up, and we were talking about the writers and stuff like that. And they were like, Kevin Williamson, we know he's changed some stuff, but it's like, how much did he change? And how far would he push it? It's one thing to get the input. And it's like, hey, what do you think? Like, hey, I'm trying to write this situation. Do you think Sydney would go left or right? Right? It's one thing to do that. It's kind of like, okay, she would go left, right? Or, kind of just chip in little pieces on kind of the main core character, stuff like that. And then there's the, like, hey, he's rewriting entire sections and rewriting, hey, Sydney would never, like, this isn't going to work for Sydney's character. You know what I mean? Like, there's levels to this. And would Kevin Williamson, even if he came in, would he come in and change a bunch of stuff? Now, obviously, you could argue he changed enough to get a writing credit. However, is that just kind of a courtesy thing? Is that just kind of like, like how he was the executive producer in Scream 5, right? But he really just came to set and checked it out, right? Like, and yeah, you might have had some input here and there, but for the most part, like nothing, like he wasn't rewriting stuff and doing all that, right? Like, so my concern is that this was just more of a courtesy than a actual, like, hey, he rewrote this. But it doesn't really matter because the name's on it now, right? So, like, what I mean by that is if this is terrible, he's getting the blame, right? If this is great, he's going to get the praise. So we can't do the whole, well, if this is great, yes, Kevin Williamson, I knew it, my goodness, right? Like, he came through once again, clutch. And then if this is bad, go, oh, well, Kevin Williamson, Guy Busick was the guy that wrote. No. It says, screenplay by Kevin Williamson and Guy Busick. They even put Kevin Williamson in front of Guy. So if Kevin's writing and directing, this is on him. I mean, it's that simple. Like, this is on him. This is going to, in many ways, live or die with Kevin Williamson. And like I said, we can't be in the middle, right? It can't be one of those things where it's like, okay, well, Kevin Williamson, he's great, but, he did fantastic, but we know he didn't really write them. Guy Busick had an outline and a drawing and a story, but we also don't know how much Kevin Williamson actually did. Again, if it's a courtesy, sure, but you still have your name on it, which again leads me to more optimism, more excitement. I would imagine that he wouldn't want his name on something that he wasn't proud of or something that he didn't like. I would imagine that if he didn't like the writing, he would say, like he would try to keep off of that and just be like, no, it's fine. You don't have to give it to me. We also don't know what happened behind the scenes. What if he did do that? What if he was like, hey, don't worry about me. You guys just did. And they were like, no, we insist, right? It's just kind of, like I said, a courtesy thing. That's the problem, is we don't know what goes on and how things operate behind the scenes. There's excitement, there's optimism, there's promise. Like, there's a lot of things that go into this upcoming Scream movie that I'm really excited for. And I'm really looking forward to seeing it, obviously, in what Kevin Williamson did and what he brings and all of that. But, again, there is a level of just concern of, are they going to be able to deliver this Scream movie to the level in which we need it to be delivered? I hope so. Right? Also, did he write? My hope is that he wrote some for the new characters too, because I could see something where, because one of the big problems with Scream 5 and 6 is the utilization of the legacy characters. That was terrible, but it's not their characters. They don't know how to properly write them to the scale that would satisfy us, because it's not their characters. But Scream 5 and 6 is also really lacked character development as a whole. Kevin Williamson was very good at creating character development. I mean, so much so, all of the characters we love are all Kevin Williamson characters, right? So my hope is that he actually had a hand in the character development department. Like, if you want to let Guy write the story and do all the craziness, sure. Let Kevin handle the development of said characters. And I think that could potentially be a winning formula for this upcoming Scream movie. But we'll see. Time will tell. Anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.